Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy, Nowonshall, coming at you with yet another Star Trek Fleet Commander. Today, we're going to be talking about the new Fleet Commander Lorca. Colin, the new Fleet Commander. Sorry, guys. My brain farted on that one. We're going to take a look at the new Fleet Commander and go over his abilities and give you a little background on if he's good, he's bad, or what he's actually meant for. But remember, guys, I know I didn't do my video for the Arc launch, but I didn't have time at the time. But let's actually get into the actual meat and potatoes of the video. So let's open it up. As you see now, we have another Fleet Commander slot. Yay, another one, but it's paid for. So let's get Khan. He's a new Fleet Commander that's came into the part of the game. As you see right now, I already maxed him out in all stats. So I did invest a little bit into him already. You have his whole write-up right here, which is kind of cool. And then we have all his upgrades. So we have his always on abilities, which if you're really into PvP, his always on abilities are nice. So on this one, on combat start, increases your chance against a player or crit chance against a player for 4 rounds. Does not trigger during station defense. Then we have another one on round start, increases your apex barrier against players for 6 rounds. So kind of combat to shred. On combat start, increases your isolatic damage against players for 5 rounds. Our next one is the deepest cut. On combat start, increase your crit damage by 4 rounds against a player. Then we have not quite demonstrated. On combat start, increases apex shred against players. Does not trigger during station defense. Always on. So let's look at the skill tree. So we're going to take a look on the left side is going to be his visionary tree. Then extremist and overseer. So his visionary tree. So right now what you see I have maxed out on combat start, increase your apex shred against non-armored hostiles for 3 rounds by 50%. But it starts at 10. Then we have Warfare Concealed. On combat start, increase your crit damage against players while cloaked. So that's basically a cloaking one. Goes from 30 all the way to 250. The next one I have already maxed out. On combat start, increase your crit chance against non-armada hostiles. So it starts at 1, goes all the way to 15%. Not horrible. And then we have to the last. On round start, increases your apex barrier against players for 6 rounds. Starts at 120 and goes all the way up to 500. Then our next one's going to be Save Your Strength. On combat start, decreases the attack stats of all bridge crew officers on enemy players' ship for 6 rounds. So you see it starts at 100, can go up to 1,000. And then the next one right here, which is 1,250, increases all officer stats, which starts at 250, goes all the way up to 1,250. So this one kind of defeat each other if you're actually against somebody with con on them. And then under that, we have 3 more selectable ones. We have Superior Ambition. On round start, chance to apply morale on your ship for 2 rounds if your opponent has burning. Remember, morale helps you out just a little bit. And then it helps your Star Research Tree, because all these do is help your Star Research Tree if you have one of those actually done. Right here's the next one. Perdition Flames. On round start, chance to apply to your burning to opponent's player ship for 2 rounds if opponent has hull breach. So you're gonna have burning. Yes. Wait, on round start, chance to apply burning to opponent player's ship if your opponent, so you can add burning to the ship. Cool. And then this one on round start has a chance to apply hull breach to your opponent player's ship for 2 rounds if your ship has morale. And you can see it goes from 1 or 10% all the way to 40%. And then we have the selectable tree. Our next one is going to be this one. I think this is a always on ability. Increases base crit damage against player when activated. So this one you have to activate it kind of like Lorca on his ability. You have to activate it and have that going, so you have to have him in that slot. So it goes from 120 all the way to 400. Of course, those have a cooldown. Our next one in the extremist tab is on combat start, increases your isolatic damage when defending the station. Cool. The one I have maxed out. On round start, increase your apex barrier against non-armada hostiles. So that's going to help you in the long run, especially with these new hostiles that came out, part of the Augment faction, or Augment one we're doing right now. Then we have on Space Seed. On round start, decreases your opponent's player crit damage for 8 rounds when mining with a surveyor. So if you're mining with a surveyor, it's going to decrease their crit damage toward you for 8 rounds, which it's going to be combined with the skin, the miner skin in the long run. But not really like, oh my god, it goes from 20% all the way to 80%. Then the next one I have maxed out is from Hell's Heart. When you land a crit hit on a non-armada hostile, decrease your crit damage for 3 rounds. Not bad. It goes from 10% all the way to 25%. So it's not much. So our next always on ability is 5 times your strength. On combat start, increase your isolated damage against players for 5 rounds. Starts at 20, goes all the way to 100%. And then we go to here. This is going to be your arena based one. So this one is Hardened Veteran. On combat start, increases apex barrier in arena against players. Starts at 250, goes all the way to 4,500. So that's going to help you in there. And plus, since apex shred exists, it's kind of be one of those ones. And then we have this one right here. When I have 7 into. I'm not really a PvP player, but I did this for the ship repair. So it says increases your isolated damage while in arena. Starts at 22%, goes all the way to 50%. I did that because of the repair one. Here's another one. So every contingency anticipation, when you're hit by a airship weapon, decreases your isolated defense for 5 rounds. So it'll do your isolated defense starts at 1 to 15. It's kind of like low, but it combines with everything you have in the long run. So it is what it is on that one. Then we have the repair one on Big Happy Feet. One Big Happy Feet fleet increases base cost efficiency. Starts at 20, goes all the way to 300. Cost efficiency is great, especially in arenas or PvE or PvP. Just gets you to go out there more and more. Just not the speed up part of it. Like we have to deal with Omega when we're higher level. Our next always on ability, not quite domesticated. On combat start, Apex Shred against player does not trigger during station defense. So it gives you Apex Shred, starts at 30%, all the way to 100%. And then the one I like, if you have a battleship, this is going to really do a difference for you. Right here. So, increases your hull HP for all your ships. Goes from 375% all the way to 1,500. That is a good increase if you have the command center to get there. Then we have your Task Me, or You Task Me. On combat start, increases your crit chance against players for 4 rounds. Starts at 10%, goes all the way to 50. Then his next one is Fine Technique. This is in the Overseer tab. When you land a crit hit on your opponent, player decreases their isolated damage for 2 rounds, or defense. So 5%, all the way to 30%. Then we have Torn Apart. When you land a crit hit on a opponent player, increases your Apex Shred for 2 rounds. So we had at 1%, goes all the way to 15. Then we have selectable abilities there. On combat start, increases your Explorer damage against players for 10 rounds. So remember, this is your selectable ones. Starts at 500%, goes all the way to 2,500%. That's kind of cool. That's whatever your main PvP ship is at the point. On combat start, increases your interceptor damage for 10 rounds. Again, 500, all the way to 2,500. Our next one is going to be on combat start. Your battleship damage goes up players for 10 rounds. Starts at 500, goes to 2,500. Then our always on ability. On combat start, increases your crit damage for 4 rounds against players. It starts at 50% and goes out to 200%. And the last ability is Best Serve Cold. On combat start, increases your isolated defense damage when attacking player's station. So we go to 100 all the way to 500%. So that's going to be what that is for Khan. So Khan's thing is, if we look at it, he's mainly PvP focused. If you're a PvP player, he's a must-have for a PvP player. Like, hands down, he's going to be one of the guys you're going to want on in your fleet commander slots, hands down in that aspect. But if you look at, is he worth it for a PvE player? I'm personally looking at him for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his abilities that are Apex barrier related, shred related, officer stats related, hull HP related, just stuff like that for the PvE aspect, which should help you with the new augment hostiles and some of your normal ones out there, and doing your solo wave defense as well, since Apex Shred is brought into solo wave defense, which to be something you might want to look at as well. Would I buy him? Quite possibly, just for the PvE features. Is he worth getting for your PvP players? Yes. PvE players, I want to say yes as well. It's not focused on PvE, but it's there in the stats. Especially if you can get a bigger hull for your battleships, your ships in general. And that means the longer you're going to last in battle. That's another thing you have to look at. So, Khan is a one I'm going to say is not a must-have, but a have. Have if you're a PvP player or PvE player, but a must-have if you're a PvE player. All right, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification down below. Don't forget there is a comment button if you want to leave a comment and say, hey, no one, this is what I thought of your video, or just hi. And don't forget, guys, there are donation links listed down below if you do want to donate. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. All right, guys, this is your boy, Nowonshall, signing out. Peace out. Have a wonderful day.